There was a time when I didn't take good care of me, and there was this negative ripple effect on my mind, my body, my spirit, and even my relationships. We don't always talk about relational self care, but that's one of the pillars that I talk about as well. And on my journey, I had to experience a good deal of physical challenges, mental and emotional challenges to wake me up so that I could realize that taking good care of me, it wasn't just self care, it was life care. If I was going to show up at my best in all the spaces that I occupy, my home, my office, my community, my friendships, my marriage, my parenting. If I was going to show up at my best in those areas, I had to take good care of me because if I'm not well, none of those things are going to thrive as far as my relationship with them if I'm not well. And some of you may not believe that it's that important. So let me give you this example. Have you ever tried to go to work or go to school or to an event when you didn't feel well? Your physical body just didn't feel well. Did you show up at your best? Did you function at optimal levels? I would imagine the answer is no. And that's because when we are not well, the spaces that we occupy and the people that we serve or engage with, lead, love, they don't get the best of us. So self-care, and I know you've heard this before, self-care isn't selfish. It's actually one of the most loving things that you can do for your marriage, for your children, for those that you lead, those that you serve and support. They want you showing up at your best because if we're going to tell the truth, when we're not at our best, sometimes we're difficult to work with. We're difficult to talk to. We're difficult to be parented by. We're difficult in our marriages, in our partnerships, in our relationships. If we're going to be as loving, caring, compassionate, supportive, and the best leaders that we are meant to be, we have to show up at our best first. Because I know there's someone listening to this video. You've been talking about taking better care of you, but you haven't done it. You've been planning on taking better care of you, but you haven't taken action. You've been listening to the videos, the podcasts, you've been reading the books, you've been checking things out on social media, you've seen so many different tips, but you haven't moved forward. Today, I want to give you three simple things that you can do to get started. Three simple things, and they are free. The first thing is assess your needs. Your mind may be saying, you're distracted, you're anxious, you're worried, you're preoccupied. You have brain fog, low attention span, right? Your body may be fatigued. Maybe you're getting ill more often than usual. Maybe your body is achy. What are the signs? I want you to assess what you need. And then there's your relationships. What have you noticed going on in your relationships? Are they flowing well? Or is there some discord happening? Maybe you need some time away from social engagements, social activities with certain friends, and maybe even family members. What is it that you need? So check in with yourself. Second, I want you to start with free. There's a lot of things that you can spend money on in regards to self care. And when you have to spend a lot of money on it, I consider it pampering personally, not necessarily self care, even though it can help us feel better. And I'll give you an example. Manicures and pedicures, they can qualify as self-care, but I see them more as a pampering opportunity. It's not something that you can do every day, and I recommend non-negotiable self-care every single day because stress shows up every single day, and I want us to have tools, strategies, avenues for us to relieve and release stress. So I'm talking about self-care that you can actually deploy every single day and embed it into your lifestyle. So it's not something that you have to go somewhere else and pay to do. There are things right in your environment, whether it's at work or at home, in your community, in your neighborhood, that you can do for free every single day. So I want you to start focusing on free. And here's how basic this can be: getting enough rest at night, hydrating first thing in the morning and all throughout the day, sitting outside on your porch and getting fresh air and watching the trees blow, listening to your surroundings, calling and laughing with a friend on the phone, reading something inspirational. I want you to start with free. The key here is just get started. And the last thing I want you to remember is that baby steps are progress. Start small. You don't have to do everything right now, but pick a few things, maybe 3 times a day, 4 times a day. It could be as small as 5-minute increments, 10-minute increments, and work your way up depending on what your needs are. I would recommend that when you notice that your stress levels are starting to grow, that you engage with something that qualifies as self care, stress management, relaxation technique, whatever it is you want to call it. The most important thing is that you take better care of you. And this is a time in our lives, a time in the world where we all need some extra self care. There are a lot of things that we can be overwhelmed, anxious, worried, sad, angry about. This is not the time for us to start slacking on our self care. And to be honest with you, this is the time where self care likely needs to increase. So, again, start with identifying what your needs are, start with free, and start with baby steps.